try to get this read as much to the 8 to 12. I'm assuming that's pretty much, you go early in that 7, 13, 8 to 12-year-old pretty much. I'm trying to do that as much to that as I can. But I think some of the things I'm going to talk about, it doesn't matter whether you're a T-ball or whether you're in the major leagues. It all translates, and it's always relevant all the way through. The one thing that I was thinking about what I was going to say today, and I remember myself playing Little League, and one thing that really stuck out to me was remembering that the peer pressure to swing the biggest bat on the team. Okay? I don't know if that's still a factor or if kids are a little bit more. It's like a strength contest. You want to be the kid swinging a 31 or a 30 or a 31-inch bat as opposed to kids swinging a 28, right? So that still doesn't go away. And I think it's very important that as coaches, you recognize that they're having those little contests and that you get them to understand that the bat can't be swinging them. They have to be able to have a bat that they can control. It does you no good to be the kid, the biggest kid in the team, who's swinging the biggest bat, and the bat's swinging him. Like he's got to pull it through as opposed to be able to control it through the zone. Okay? So I think it's very important that you get them past that. And in working with them, you can kind of tell when a bat's swinging a kid versus a kid can control the bat and tell them, hey, drop down an inch or a couple ounces on this bat. Control this bat first. Show me you can do these drills. Show me you can execute the swing we're working on. Then we can maybe go up an inch. And it doesn't matter. You can give them a story of Tony Gwynn, which I'm assuming most of you have heard of. Okay, played in the major leagues, 3,000 plus hits, going to be a Hall of Famer, if not already. I think he's already a Hall of Famer. He used a 32-inch bat. There's guys in the major leagues we have guys at Wheaton using a 33, some a 34. He's a major league player using a 32-inch bat. It's all about bat control, so that's first and foremost. The next thing is getting them to grip the bat correctly, okay? You will see a lot of kids, you'll see it at every level, honestly, where they will, without thinking, be naturally gripping the ball, the bat in their palms, in the palms of their hands, which creates a tight grip, and you don't want that. You want to be, in baseball, you want to be loose with everything you do. Throwing, hitting, fielding, pitching, everything. Okay, you want to be loose. There's no way to be loose when you have the bat gripped in the palms of your hands, right up against your thumb. Okay, immediately it creates that Freddie Flintstone grip. Get them to relax it down into their fingertips, not fingertips, fingers. Okay, so right where the edge of the palm meets the base of the fingers, that's where they should be holding the bat, right in there. As far as lining knuckles up, you hear sometimes about lining certain knuckles up. I don't think that's important. Everybody's got a different feel for the bat, and I think you can create an uncomfortable grip if you're enforcing that. As long as they've got it where if they were to just put their hands like this, put it right in the base, both sides, and then just grip it, whatever they do that's comfortable is what they should do. The way that you check that their grip is correct ultimately is that it's loose enough that it's in the fingers, and that if you have them do a half swing and get to the point where they're at contact, if they've got palm up and palm down at the point of contact, they're fine. You don't have to worry about knuckles. Palm up, palm down, and point of contact. Loose grip in the fingertips, and a bat that they can control. Okay? Before we go into any of the drills, before we go into swing path or any of the drills, one thing that I didn't actually write down there, but it's the most important thing of hitting, but it's often overlooked, because we want to hear, we want to talk about the stride, and we want to talk about the load, talk about the swing itself. We want to talk about all those things, the swing path and the finish and all that good stuff, and really what it comes down to in the end is seeing the baseball. Seeing the baseball. We do this with our guys at Wheaton every year. We get the freshmen in there, we get the whole team in the fall, and we're giving them a talk on hitting and going over some of the basics. And we'll ask one of those freshmen, what's the most important thing about hitting? Oh, it's my load. I gotta get my load. Okay, all right. Get your stance, get a great, nice balanced stance. Show me your load. All right, close your eyes. we're flipping the baseball and everyone laughs and the whole thing, she doesn't see it. And it just makes the point, seeing the baseball is the most important thing. So when I get into swing path, we're going to kind of tie in seeing the baseball. And when we get into the drills, we're going to tie in seeing the baseball. Here is a very common swing path that I see. Every year we bring maybe about 20, 25 youth league players in town to one of our games, and then after our game we give them a clinic. And we bring them in the cage, and our guys and our coaches are working with them and trying to help them out. And a very common thing you see is this is an 8, 9, 10-year-old swing path. Okay? You want to swing the bat with your arms or your elbow tight to your rib cage. Okay? From point A to point B. You hear sometimes, and I hear coaches say, you want to extend, extended contact. No, you don't. Okay? Not yet. That will naturally happen at some point. Think about this. You're pissed off with your wife or husband, all right? And you can't take it anymore, you're leaving the room, and you want to slam a door, okay? You slam that door with your arm extended. How strong are you? Versus if you slam it here. You're much stronger when you're closer to your body. When your arms or hands are closer to your body. Or throwing a punch. You throw a punch like that, and throw a punch right through there. Okay? Stronger. So why would you want to be in a weak position at contact? How would you extend it in a way? Get extended. You're weak. Once you're out here, you're weak. In here, you're strong. So when we got, and this is something little guys can learn too, because it's like they say, you teach a foreign language to a kid when he's 8, 9, 10, and all that. It's good, try to do it when you're 46. No chance, right? So if they hear this stuff now, they can get it. It'll take some repetition. It'll take getting them to understand it, but they can get it. The best swing path is one that once you're starting from point A to point B, is that elbow gets into the rib cage, not tight, not jamming it in there, but in this general area, to the point where you're making contact, palm up, palm down. Now, after I hit the ball, I'm naturally going to extend and finish and all those things, but at the point of contact, I'm here, or here, or here, inside, outside, middle, whatever it is, but that elbow is in here, and it's the first thing that happens as you're going is there. Starting to bring, they say sometimes, bring the knob at the pitcher and all that stuff, but it creates this, that elbow in tight. And if you notice, from the point I start the swing to the point I get to contact, it's the quickest point from point A to point B. You want to create that. Some coaches will tell their kids, trying to get that effect, to start down or swing down. You don't want that, okay? If you've noticed, every time that I've gotten to the point of contact, I've got a flat bat. Makes sense, right? The ball's coming in at this plane. If I'm swinging down or uppercutting and I'm not in the contact zone for more than just a little bit, I'm not going to make consistent hard contact. Once in a while, every squirrel finds a nut and I'll catch one and I'll get it good. But for the most part, to maximize your chances of consistent hard contact, you want to create a swing that allows you to have flat bat at contact, through contact, and finish. Right? So, you don't want to teach them, don't say start it down. Don't do that, right? Don't tell them start down, because what you'll create is a chopping swing that is not what you want, because you're not in the contact zone for long. Or you'll create a V swing where they'll start down, they'll hit the ball, and then they'll try to finish, so that they're basically, they're V. You don't want that either. You can get shortest point, point A, which is when you're starting your swing, to point B. That's pretty fast, really quick. There's not much wasted motion, but I'm in a strong position when I get to contact. So that's the swing path. Okay? Elbow into the rib cage, and as I'm turning, I'm creating a flat bat, and it's the quickest path from A to B. Another thing that I think happens is you probably throw batting practice or working with your kids and you're throwing the ball on the outside part of the plate and they're constantly pulling the ball. And you tell them, hey, you got to hit the ball to the opposite field. And it's great. Yeah, you're right. They do. They need to hit a ball on the outside part of the plate for the most part. Ideally, they want to hit that generally to the opposite field. No question. You're absolutely correct. It is very hard for a player, even a young kid, old kid, whatever, to hear that and be able to do anything about it. They need to feel it. It's not just about, hitting coaches out there, like you could know everything there is to know about hitting, and you could tell them everything that you're saying is absolutely correct. And if they don't feel it, they're not going to be able to do it. So one of the drills that we do with our guys, and I think it translates even to the youth level, okay, is using a tee to hit points of contact. Where am I contacting different pitches in the zone? Bring this back a little bit so it looks like everybody can see it. So because I talked about the outside pitch, these are things that I'm assuming, you have some form of. You have a throw down plate, you have a tee of some sort. I'm going to do this from the left side, so I'm basically putting a pitch that is on the outer half of the plate, okay? When we're doing tee drills with our players, we also put a dot on the balls. Does anybody know why? Exactly. Okay, so if they're just seeing this, that's what I'm hitting, that's fine, that's great. And it's not going to make anyone a bad hitter, okay? Just seems to make sense that if you put a visual thing that's smaller than the ball itself, it focuses their vision a little bit more on where they want to hit the baseball, not just hitting the baseball. Translates at any level, right? Don't even have to tell them what you're doing. Their eyes will naturally be drawn to that when they're swinging at it, okay? That's just a little aside. So, put the ball on the tee to work points of contact. So instead of saying, hey, pitch is outside, hit that ball the other way, hit that ball the opposite field. Come on, hit that ball the opposite field. I told you to hit that ball the opposite field. It's not going to work, okay? Get him on a tee and address the plate. And for this drill, now everybody might stand a little forward, middle, or back, in which case you would adjust the tee, but just for the sake of the drill, to get them to feel it. Line their front foot out with the front of the plate, okay, in their stance, okay? So to hit this ball on the outer part of the plate, I've got to be right about there, okay? That ball's going to go to the opposite field. That ball's basically on line to be driven as a left-handed hitter over the shortstop's head, okay? If they do that, and do that, and do that, they're going to get a feel of how to hit the ball on the other side. It really comes down to letting the ball travel a little deeper, because they're so used to getting out there and hitting the ball out here that even on a pitch away, they're getting their arms away from their body and they're wrapping around that ball and they're pulling it. They just have to let that ball get a little deeper, but it's, again, very hard to say, okay, to an 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, okay, let that ball travel. They don't really get that, okay? So just get them on a tee, get them in the right position. This is the point of contact for a pitch on the outer half. Just have them work on it. Work on going the outer half, outer half, outer half. They're going to feel it, right? They're going to feel what it feels like to hit that ball the other way, and by osmosis, just by doing it and by repping it out, they're going to get a feel for where they're contacting that ball. And to some degree, it will naturally translate into what they're doing. Or at least you have a basis to instruct when you're actually trying to get them to do it. Remember how that tee felt. Remember how that ball, you're going to wait just that split second longer. Okay? So if you want to work on middle, this is basically your point of contact. So just basically right out in front of the plate. Line it up right in the middle. Always keep the red dot pointed at their eyes. And if I'm in that same position where my front of the plate is lined up with my front foot, this is going to be my point of contact for the ball middle, right here. So, flat bat, palm up, palm down, middle, that ball is going to go directly back at the pitcher. Okay? So they're feeling what they're supposed to do with the ball middle. That's probably the least one you have to work on, but it's not a bad starter. If you're doing a T drill, you start them off in the middle, get them 4 or 5 swings, hitting it that way. Then, okay, throw the ball outside. And you move it back a little bit, but toward the outside corner. For inside pitch, you want to hit that. You need to hit that ball a little bit more out in front. Okay, and I'm gonna. It's gonna be hard for you to see. When you do that, you're gonna move this back, so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, for the ball inside, that ball's lined up to come about inside half. I'm still in the same position. What a lot of kids do when they extend and wrap the back is they're going to hit that ball way up in front. They're going to be early extended, and they're going to pull that ball foul, or if it's in the air, it's going to pull. Right? You don't want that. You want to hit this ball true. This forces you, with this point of contact for ball in, it's a little deeper than maybe they might normally hit it if they're hitting batting practice. It forces you into that swing path we just talked about. I can't cast and hit this ball in the barrel. I can't get out away from my body. I have to do that elbow into my rib cage, flat bat to hit that ball, and that ball's lined up probably to go to, drive over the second baseman's head. Okay? Points of contact. Deeper when we're on the outside, right out in front of the plate when we're middle, and further out in front of the plate when we're inside. That might feel crowded to someone, but not with the right swing. With the right swing, elbow in, flat bat at contact, palm up, palm down. I can get a feel for what it feels like to hit that ball on the inside part of the plate and still be in a strong position at contact. Okay? Another very good drill is front toss. I don't really know how to show or to demonstrate this, and maybe we could. Front toss to me, you've got a square screen available to you, or if you've got an L screen available. I've set this up so me being a lefty, I can get in behind the high part of the L screen, sit on a bucket of baseballs, and the screen in front of me, just have my arm exposed, have a plate set up, basically in line. In line with the edge where I'm going to be throwing from. So that bucket is where I would be. I'd be sitting here, and I'd be flipping right from here, so I want to put the plate right about here. And as soon as I flip, I just basically pull my arm back behind the screen. And what you're doing is you're creating a drill that can get them to see the ball straight on. You see sometimes where you might be hitting into a fence and someone's flipping the ball from the side. Okay? Flips or whatever you want to call it. They're not seeing a pitch from there. I think what the kid will do sometimes is they will create the swing you don't want just to kind of get around to avoid hitting that ball right back at whoever's throwing it to them. So they'll kind of get out and around and try to hook that ball to hit it into the fence, as opposed to front toss, which again only requires a square screen. And you could do this where, even if you don't have a batting cage, which I'm sure many of you don't in practice, you could do it in the outfield. You could use tennis balls, they're not going too far. Or you could have some guys shagging in a group that are getting some defensive work, because another great thing about it, you're not 35, 40 feet away, throwing the ball in the dirt, throwing the ball high, fixing a strike. Jesus, kid can't hit the ball, so now you're trying to hit his bat, and you're hitting tight, and the ball's going all over the place, right? So you can actually throw a lot more strikes, and as you get good at it, you can say, okay, let's just say you got, 12 guys on the team, okay? Split them up, 6 and 6. You get 6 guys. If you have an assistant coach, if you're fortunate enough, you have an assistant coach, you have 6 kids doing defensive work on one side of the field, and 6 kids doing hitting. When you get that group of 6 kids, you could have 3 guys working off of a tee, doing what we just explained, maybe a round of just middle, hitting it into a fence, a round away, and a round in. So we're each getting, 3 times through working on something, and then you have 3 other kids doing front toss with you, okay? And they're going to get 5 or 6, right when they want. And you're that much closer to them to instruct them. If you see something that's really wrong, you can kind of stop the thing and point it out. Where when you're in a batting practice thing, and you're throwing batting pressure, they're up against the backstop, it's not as conducive to instruction. I think it's more just like, I want to get the swings in, you feel like you got to throw batting practice, but you get a bunch of kids standing in the outfield, they're never getting the ball hit to them, so they're not engaged, So you just shorten the number of groups, put in these small little drills, organize things so you're able to instruct, and kids are not standing around too much, working in groups of 3. So the first time in front toss, they might get 5 working right down the middle. And the next time you come through, second round in there, now you're working outer half. And you're trying to get them, maybe they're just working off the tee, now they're taking it into a ball that's pitched at. But it's going to be you're going to be able to control it and get it to the outer half, where in BP it's tougher to do that. And then the third time through, you work on the inner half. Or if one kid struggles with one kid struggles with the other, you can tailor it to that kid. Okay? All the while, kids are also getting reps and gaining that feel hitting off the tee while you've got guys doing defense, and you're able to kind of organize so that you get all of that accomplished. Okay? Are there any questions in general about anything? I don't want to just sit here talking at you and go through all this, but are there, yeah.
With young kids like all of us and coaches, what's the best way to teach them the proper stance or balance? Like, what kids understand? Because I had rookie last year, and that was one thing, was trying to get everyone balanced.
Yeah.
But is there any tips or anything you could say about
Well,
kids?
I mean, are you teaching their stance from general, or are you fixing?
Yeah, some of the kids had never even swung from the plate last year. So, I mean, it was literally showing them how to even hold
Okay,
the bat.
so we talked already about bat size, we talked about grip. Okay? If you're teaching a kid from scratch, then you're going to make it pretty vanilla. All right, so I would say that their stance should be about, if not slightly more than shoulder width apart. Okay? That their feet should be lined up, straight out of the pitcher. This is simple. I'm sure you do this, right? So they're shoulder width apart, feet are lined up right at the pitcher. We talked about the grip. Get into a comfortable athletic position. If you're playing defense or anything like that, you're always in this position. And this position pretty much translates to all sports. Defensive back, a goalie in soccer, a guy in the infield or the outfield, defending in basketball. It all is like an athletic stance. So that's pretty much what I would do for baseball. I would make sure that the hands are somewhere in this area. Don't need to start up here. Don't need to do anything extreme. Just kind of keep them in a neutral, relaxed position near the shoulder. If they want to rest the bat on their shoulder, that's fine. Any of this stuff is fine. Right? So that's what I would say. Is keep one shoulder with the pocket.
Thing, or is that to focus on that? Or?
Some people say keep that back elbow up. I think that's probably a way to try to quick fix a kid who's uppercutting.
Okay.
I'm assuming. Okay. You're watching the major leagues, and you get guys who have that back elbows in here, and then they might lift it as they load. Some guys start off with their back elbow high. As long as the front elbow isn't high, the front elbow should be in a relaxed position. Get that up high, you start to fire, it's stiff. Okay, so this should be loose in front, just a guide. That back elbow can get up somewhere in this area, that's fine. Okay?